$500 PC that can stream like games like Among Us. Okay, you know what? $500 streaming capable. That's the wrong one. We're going to do that first. A $500 streaming capable PC. Now, this PC is not going to be like X264 super great streaming PC, but what it's going to do, I'm going to go 3100 here, is it's going to have the ability to stream using the Nvme encoder. So we're going to go at it. Me personally, I would still go with the 3100. I just want an excuse to go 3100. Now, keep in mind this build probably is going to be a little over $500, but I'm going to try to keep it as close to $500 as I can. So we're going to go this CPU right here, 3100, 4-core, 8-thread. We're going to add it to a wish list. Hopefully it stays in stock. So we're going to call this the $500 entry-level streaming PC. We'll call it entry streaming PC. This PC can stream basic games. All right. There we go. Entry streaming PC. So then we need to go. So the real question is, can we get a B550 motherboard cheap enough? I don't know how cheap B550 boards have gotten. You don't need to go B550, of course. You can go B450 and be perfectly fine. But if there's a B550 board that's hovering around like $80-ish, then we can go that route. But it appears this one's 80. I don't know. I mean, this isn't much better than your traditional like B450 board, so 80's okay. So I mean, you could go A320 too if you want, or A520. How much are A520 boards? If you want something that's bare bones, I'm thinking, because this is an entry-level streaming PC. In my opinion, with an entry-level streaming PC, you need something that's going to be upgradable, because if you stream, you're going to want to stream more games in the future, right? So you need something that's going to have some long-term support. I mean, the HDV, yes, it's a cheaper board, but it's not shit. I mean, it works. We built using these HDV boards all the time. Like, you're just not going to do any overclocking on them. But, like, with Ryzen, who does overclocking on Ryzen anymore? It just boosts. So, I mean, whatever. So, let me see. B450. What kind of B450 motherboards are there? So, this is a good deal right here. This DS3H. I like this board. $74, new, 4 RAM slots, decent power delivery. Yeah, this one's a little bit better. Yeah, $74. I think this is the move. I'll add this to the wish list. $500 entry streaming PC. Matty Boy, what's up, JX? VRMs have left the chat. That is, like, for a Ryzen 3 3100, who gives a damn about the VRMs? Like, that's the thing. Like, these CPUs, are always getting more power efficient, so who really cares about VRMs? As long as you're not putting it in a sealed off box for it to, like, cook itself, it's going to be fine. VRMs, like, a lot of people really over exaggerate for lower end CPUs. VRMs, like, it's just not as important for these budget CPUs. They just don't get hot. They run cool. So it's not like it's going to be an issue. And if you want to do overclocking, then you should know to pay a little bit more money for a higher-end board that has better VRMs, like something like this. I mean, this one probably doesn't even have much better. I mean, this one at least has better cooling, so you pay $100 or something like this. Go for it. Cool, whatever. But I think it's a really overrated thing. Is Ryzen first-gen good in 2020? Depends. I would only buy them used, and if you're getting a good deal, maybe. But most of the time, anything second and third-gen is going to be a way better value new. Shifty, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate the support, man. Let's see. Is already answered that. B50 support 30 series GPU? Yes, it will support it. Just because it's a Gen 4 GPU does not mean it does not work on a motherboard that's not Gen 4. May you lose performance? Potentially. But I don't think it's that noticeable. Please check out my PC building YouTube channel. Bro, I'll see what you got. You know what? I don't normally do this, but I'm feeling in a good mood today. Oh my goodness. Did this really happen? Did you really do this to me? Did this man really rickroll me with his PC? I was trying to be nice. You know what? That seals my desire to ever look at somebody's YouTube channel again. Look what he did. He did it. So if anyone wants to plug their YouTube channel in the chat, he just ruined it. He ruined it for everyone. All right? No more. Never again. Every Toast About Stream has a recall. It really does, though. So. Yo, Red Killer. Haven't seen you in a long time, dude. What's up? Ryzen 5 1600 with an RX 580. What's a good upgrade path? If you have a B450 board, man, you can look at 3rd gen Ryzen, go like a 3600 or something, or wait till whatever the next generation is and see what that's going to be, and see what the Ryzen 5 equivalent will be for that route. So, I think someone asked in the chat, so Jackson getting back soon. Jackson will be back on Monday. Matt, was the best B450 board to get? There's so many of them that are bare bones, top notch. So like, if you want a middle of the pack B450 board, I'm getting really off task, and my video editor is gonna hate me for this. This one right here is actually a good little budget one. It has good VRM cooling. Actually, I might go with this one because this one might satisfy the other viewers a little bit more. This has better cooling on the VRMs if that's something you really care about. 4 RAM slots, micro ATX. So I mean, this is a little bit better for like a budget board. I like this one. So for $82, that's not awful. Considering that it's for the other one that's $79, I might as well go with this for the same price. So I'm actually gonna change my decision here. We're gonna change that. We'll get rid of that other one in a minute. I changed my mind. Every one of these will support Wi-Fi adapters. You can use USB Wi-Fi adapters. You can use them on one of the PCI slots, whatever you want to do. Will motherboard affect my performance? Most of the time, no. As long as it supports the system you're going with, sure. What's the difference between B450 and B550? The B550 chipset supports PCI Gen 4, basically. That's the only real difference right now. And it'll have out-of-the-box support for the next Ryzen CPU launch. Okay, let's go with RAM. I'm thinking 16 gigabytes of DDR4. Minimum nowadays for anything $500 needs to be 16 gigs. That's just signed, sealed, delivered. Can't really argue with that anymore. Look at this, $51. I know this is only 3,000 megahertz. How much is the 3,200 megahertz? 57. That's okay. I don't know how much performance you're going to get from 3,000 to 3,200. Not that much. I think 57 is like the floor for that. Oh, 52. This stuff. I forgot about this deal. Holy crap. Who is spamming that link? Who the hell? Get rid of that. All right. Cast latency 16. This will be fine. It'll be fine. 3,200 megahertz, $52. That seems like the best deal. Seems like the best deal right now. So we're going to add that to the streaming PC wish list. Cast latency 20. Cast latency 20. That's ridiculous. Is that actually cast latency 20? It's not that high. What are you talking about, bro? Can you repeat, please? I didn't hear you. Does it support Wi-Fi adapter? Yes, of course it does. Anything will support a Wi-Fi adapter. This is what we need. The Predator DDR4 16 gigs at 4,000 megahertz. Dear God. That's insane. Insane. Okay, GPU. Chad, you gotta stop distracting me. I'm trying to build a PC here, all right? You're asking me so many questions. Give me some time here, ladies and gentlemen. Is there really any other GPU option? I think it's the 1650 Super. Because the reason I'm going 1650 Super, yes, you can go with the 570 and get a little bit on par gaming performance. That NVMe encoder. The NVMe encoder is what's going to get you the performance. You have to. You have to do it. NVMe encoder. That's the big thing here, is being able to live stream on that. Boom, it's beautiful. New NVMe, it's going to look great. Entry-level streaming PC. This is what you got to go with. We'll add it to the wish list, call it a day, and walk on with our lives. What is NVMe encoder? The NVMe encoder is basically, if you don't know what live streaming is, it probably won't make any sense to you, but when you're live streaming, you have to use what is called X264, which is literally using your CPU to encode the live stream, or the NVMe encoder, or whatever hardware accelerated encoder that's on the graphics card. So when you use the NVMe encoder, you don't lose, pretty much, it's very negligible how much performance you lose while live streaming. And the NVMe encoder looks really nice. So that's the main reason why. Okay, next up would be storage. I'm thinking 500 gigabyte, just standard basic ass SSD. I mean, really, I probably wouldn't go much less than that. Probably not even M.2, just whatever 2.5 inch I can find. If it's like a team group drive, I know a lot of people don't like these drives, but value for money, they're okay. SU630, or which one, Chad? You think go the team group or the SU630? The Kingston? I have an RX 580 I want to recommend it for streaming. Yeah, it's not a good option for streaming. I'm not reviewing setups this stream. As I mentioned on the last stream, I do sponsored Newegg streams on Friday, so I do the setup reviews on like maybe the next stream, like Monday or something. Let's see, SU630. I'm thinking the 630. Yeah, I've used these drives so many times. So 480 gigs isn't a ton, but it'll be enough to get you up and running. And then you could always get a hard drive. That's probably what I'll do. If there's room in the budget, I'll go back and get a hard drive. Okay, power supply. Oh boy. I'm thinking one of these. A lot of people have been recommending these recently. These Montech 550 watts. They're actually decent for the money. So they're non-modular, but they're very basic. They use pretty good capacitors. People have been recommending these on Newegg recently, so I'm thinking this is probably the move. $50. Power supplies are a little bit expensive right now, so $50. It is what it is. That is just going to be the best move. Is your $750 full gaming set for 3 months ago still relevant? Yes, definitely. Want the power supply are cheap and use Japanese capacitors? Exactly. Newegg has 650 power supply on the low, seen last time, I can't remember exactly. I'll look at some other ones, but I think this is probably the best move. Let's just look I really want, let's just look at power supplies. Power supply. Because, like, 500 watts is what I want for a little bit of upgradability. But, you know, I wouldn't buy the N1. That's a really crap power supply in terms of just, like, I've had so many issues with it. This is if you want to go with the 500 EVGA 500 watt 80 plus white. This is a $10 mail-in rebate to make it $40. This is a pretty reliable power supply. I've used these a lot. These are a good option. They're very cheap and good. Let's see. Yo, Cybershark, what's up, dude? What's the criteria? So today we're doing we're gonna do a couple builds, but today I'm starting on a $500 get up and stream PC. So like basic streaming ready PC. And we're going like 3100, 1650 super because of the Nvme encoder. That's kind of what we're working on. I rule of thumb on parts is name brand only. I mean, I guess, but like there's a lot of like diamonds in the rough out there if you go non-name brand. So I personally am going to go with the Montech because I don't see anything crazy. But your mileage may vary. I have not used these specifically, but I've heard really good things about them. Well, basically people are just yelling at us for using the Thermaltake Smart all the time and not using a new power supply. So that too. All right, micro ATX case. All right, so we're not gonna be able to make this the prettiest build in the world. We might be able to find a decent value here. This gives a $5 gift card. This is not too bad. I mean, we can go dirt cheap with the DIY. I want this to actually have decent airflow though. I'm thinking it's the Master Box, the MB311. I mean, that's a good option. Most name brands use OEM anyways. Probably no one knows. That's true. You know what I miss? The freaking what was that one power supply that we had on Newegg that was actually using a really high-end OEM? I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the company. Chat, someone bring that up. I was talking about it. Like, we were really hyped about that power supply. The Heck power supply, yes. That one's kind of dead. I miss the Heck power supply. Let's see. Toast Rose, what's the difference between Nvme and M.2? So M.2 is the form factor. That is basically the slot on your motherboard that you plug in your SSD. Nvme is a protocol that allows the M.2 to use PCI bandwidth to transfer the data. So yeah, rip the $40 hack. It wasn't gonna cut it. I'm thinking, okay, so here's my concept here. Yo, BG, thank you for all the biddies, my dude. Much appreciated, man. Here's my idea. I'm thinking we go with this case right here. This actually has a mesh front, by the way, which is pretty sick. 2 RGB fans, $60. Or we go dirt cheap with this, with the one fan, $40. This case is literally the cheapest PC case. I actually have one in the other room. We're building a, what's it called? A $250 PC, and this is like really the only option to go with. So we go dirt cheap or Master Box. What are you thinking, chat? I really don't want to do Master Box because I've used this case so many times, but for those asking for this parts list, once I finish building it, I will spam it in the chat and you can pick it up. Q300L. The only issue I have with the Q300L is it's so basic, in my opinion. Like, and I don't know. I mean, Q300L could be an option too. What do you think? Q300L, Master Box, or Deep Cool Matrix? Montech Air X. Can you still pick that case up? The Air X is like a little expensive. I'm looking for micro ATX because it is a micro ATX board. I mean, it'll look nicer. The Air X is a good case. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But I would probably do that for a little bit higher end build. Q300L Master Box. Q300L for the money you can't beat it. Yeah, it's $50, but for 20, it's $20 more. I don't know. Nah, that's $10 more. What am I talking about? $10 more, you can get a bunch of RGB fans installed, and it'll look like that. I woke up in the stream notification. I joined. I appreciate you being here, man. Do you think you can find me a 240 mil AIO? Remind me in a little bit, and I will look. I'm gonna. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go Master Box, but I have a feeling we're over budget, so we'll have to fix this. I have to get rid. Okay, keep in mind we have to get rid of another motherboard that's on that wish list. So I'll have to go through and knock it out. All right. So the price is gonna look really high right now, but let me get rid of the motherboard and we will see what we're at. Okay, so we need to get rid of this one. So we're looking at 582. We need to cut some corners here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this $500 build is almost 600. That ain't gonna cut it. Q300 airflow is non-existent. I mean, it exists. There's holes, but it's just not a lot of airflow. So what's the fastest type of M.2 drive? An Nvme M.2 drive is the fastest. You can get a SATA M.2, which is basically just the same as a normal 2.5-inch SSD, but Nvme drives are the fastest. So we have to cut some corners here, I think, if we want this to be $500. Dark Flash Mesh. I don't think that saves us any money whatsoever. The Cougar case. Let's look at the Cougar case. 9100F. I mean, technically that would work for entry-level streaming, but I'm trying to make this as long-term, like, upgradable as possible. What the hell is this? That's a very cheap-looking case. Did you grab a 1660? It was a 1650 Super. That's what we're with right now. So we're bare minimum for entry-level streaming, in my opinion. I wouldn't go much cheaper than that. Let's see. Where is this expensive? I don't want to go to 8 gigs of RAM. That's a bad idea, especially at this price. Not worth it. AM4 will be dead in the next 2 years. Well, that's 2 years. So, like, again, I don't think people understand what I mean by upgrade path. It doesn't matter if new CPUs don't support the socket. If there are multiple generations ahead still that people can buy on the used market that can allow them to upgrade, that's awesome. Like, the beauty of AM4 is somebody could have a B350 motherboard on first gen, and then at some point they're going to have, like, 3 generations of CPUs to upgrade to if they want to. Like, that's the beauty of when I mean upgrade path, doesn't mean that new CPUs constantly need to support that motherboard. It's just there's a lot of CPUs to choose from in the future on the used market. What mic do you have? These are the newer NW700. What is the budget here? So we're trying to do 500, but I don't know where to cut corners without making it bad. Like, I don't know what else to do. I think this might be what we're stuck with. And this build might just have to be 600, in my opinion. Cheaper motherboard? There's really not much cheaper you can go. We can save like $30 on like an A320, but I would feel so bad doing that. Like, I could go with this, but like, do we want to? A520? Cardboard box case? I mean, that is a meta. A520, I can get this board for $70, which would save me like $10, which isn't going to get me much closer to the price point I want. I don't know, chat. What are your thoughts? Have you ever used a Cooler Master power supply? I think we have before, but it's been a while. What the hell is this? This is a weird looking. This is the most bare bones motherboard I've ever seen. I would not touch this board with a 12-foot pole. Wow. Look at that. 2 USB 3 ports? That is bare bones. Let's see. You could have gone with the DIY case or something, kind of at the minimum. That's true. Let's see. I'm just going to try. So, like, I'm going to make some sacrifices because I said we were going to get to that price point. So, we're going to go cheap. We're going cheap. We're making this entry-level streaming capable. You want a purple case? You want our case to be purple? How much is the orange one? Can you believe this case? This case right here. We built our very first PC on the channel, and they still sell this thing. That is ridiculous. I'm just putting that out there. That is the most ridiculous thing ever. A320. All right, we're just gonna make this work, okay, chat? Here we go. We're gonna add this to the wish list. I'm just making this work. I'm gonna feel bad about it, but I'm making it work. All right, delete. Where are we at now? 560. Okay, we're approaching affordable. And then I guess I got to go A320. Goodness gracious. I mean, this will work. Would I don't know. What's a decent 8? That is so ugly looking, but I'm just going to do it. I could go back to the Gigabyte B450 too. That's an option. Let me refresh this. Let me delete this. All right, we're at 532. Anything else? I don't know what else I could do. I mean, a smaller SSD, but that would be dumb. A 480 gigabyte SSD for that price is really cheap. I would not go 570. No. I'm not going 570. ViewMax, what the hell is this? Yeah, I would not go 570. Unless you're just showing me this just to show me this. I wouldn't go 570 for a streaming PC. I'm really wanting to keep that 1650 Super. What deodorant do you have? What kind of question is that? Looks like a knockoff XFX. It really does. What do you think, chat? Should we just call it at 530? Like, what should we just call it at 530? I mean, most $500 builds are a little bit over, right? I mean, like, what else am I supposed to do here? I personally would have kept it at $580 and wait till the 3100 goes down a little bit. I just think 530 is probably where it needs to be.